one truth is that just to count somebody's money, some people spend close to 5-10 years studying accounting just to be able to count another man's money. But when it comes to the very important subject of parenting that has to do with the future of an individual, that has to do with the destination of an individual, some people think that parenting is just something that is inherent in the human configuration, which is not correct. If parenting is inherent in the human configuration, we would have great stories of parenting from the Bible. If you want to study parenting, when you search through the Old Testament from the beginning to the end, you are not going to see any perfect example. You're not going to see even any principle for proper parenting in the Old Testament. The reason you're not going to see is because parenting is not something that is inherent in us. Understand that the original man that God created without sin would not have needed parenting, because it is in the man to be able to know what is good and what is bad. So for every child that is growing up without the influence of sin, we will not be teaching parenting, because it would have been a code inside every human to go in the path that the Lord will have them go. So, when sin got into the world, parenting became something that was out of the control of man. You'll agree with me that the first family, which is the family of Adam and Eve, was a complete disaster when it comes to parenting. They were a complete failure when it comes to parenting. I don't think that anyone will want to parent children that one will kill the other, not by mistake, not manslaughter, but a pure case of murder. That's the family of Adam. So, humans did not have the solution to parenting. So, we saw David in one of the most calamitous family ever, where a brother will sleep with his sister, where one will rise to kill the other, where his son is seeking to kill his father. So, or is it the family of Abraham? You will agree with me that none of you want to have the kind of family that Abraham had, right? A family where the wife will suggest that you take another wife. You take the wife. After some time, the wife and the other wife will start having quarrel, and you are forced to send your own child out of the house. That's not a godly family. Or is it the family of Jacob? He certainly would not want to see that as a proper family, right? So, not in that case. Or is it the family of Isaac? Right? Esau and Jacob, where a mother was sad with one child and a father was sad with another child. That's not proper parenting. So, the Old Testament didn't have the solution for proper parenting, because man was not designed for this kind of life, right? It was sin that brought us to this point. That's why you will notice that every child you're raising, by the time the child is up to the age of 2, you will see something in the child that says no. Yeah, I've raised a lot of children. The vehemence with which they say no, you will know that there is something that is amiss in children. So the Bible says that foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction drives it away far. Certainly when God was creating man, God did not create man to use a rod of correction. Are you following? No, because right and wrong was written in the heart of man. So I am just saying that it is sin that introduced the problems we have with parenting that makes people want to start understanding parenting. So the only way God could correct the issue of parenting was God becoming a parent himself. So God gave birth to a son whose name is Jesus. So mankind could see the relationship between God and Jesus, and mankind could now have instruction pertaining to parenting. So the first thing I want to say this morning with regard to parenting is that the life of a child is broken down into about 4 stages. If you use the same principle to raise your child from infancy to adulthood, you will miss something greatly. So, if you've studied how a shepherd takes care of a sheep, you realize that there are 3 positions that the shepherd must take based on the age of the sheep. So that's a time where the shepherd will have to be in front to lead them. It's another time the shepherd will have to be with them. And there's another time the shepherd will have to be behind. So even a shepherd knows that there are 3 stages and there are 3 categories of approaches to raising children. So the first I'm going to be talking about is a child between age 0 to age 5. A child between age 0 to age 5. The approach that is used in training a child that is between age 0 to age 5, it's a very special approach. So, children of this age, if you pay attention to them, you will notice that they are more observant than any other age. A child between age 0 and 5 will always have a keen look at things, will always pay attention. At this point, their attention rate is very high. In other words, at this point, they learn by observation. So, if you do not understand that at this age, they learn by observation, you may miss the approach to training them. So, at this point, the focus is on training. So, at this stage, you are a trainer. You train your children. That's what you do at the age of 0 to 5. But so that's the point where you pay attention to training a child. So the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I want us to pay attention to the word the Bible used. Train up a child in the way he should go. Most parents train up children the way they want them to go. That is where the confusion will always come. You do not train children how you want them to go. You train children how they should go. So, what does this mean? This means that parents must be very conscious of the fact that they are parents, but they are not, in quotes, the source and the sustainer of the child. They're just parents. The word parents has to do more with a guardian, somebody who is providing guidance for a child. So, I'm saying that parents must understand that every child is not a child in the spirit, right? What makes a child is because the body of the child is still developing. But that child is a full-blown person in his spirit. That child is seen by God as a full-blown person. So he may treat the child as a child, but God doesn't see that child as a child. So, when you train up a child, you train up a child in the way the child should go. And that requires insight. Insight. One of the ways you know the way a child should go is relationship with the Holy Spirit. It is the Holy Spirit that knows the way a child should go. We see a lot of parents who want their children to be certain things. Because you're a pastor, your first child must go in your way. Your second child must be a lawyer in case of litigations. Your third child must be a doctor. No. You train up a child in the way the child should go. So, between age 0 and 5, pay a lot of attention to training a child. And take note that at this point, the training of our child must be very conscious. You must know that you do not train a child at this stage by instruction. No. It's not instruction you give to children at this stage. What you do to children at this stage is modeling. In other words, you do what you want them to do. So, it is almost impossible for you to raise up children properly in a dysfunctional home. So, one of the secrets to parenting is a functional home. When the home is functional, when the home is okay, raising of children will naturally just follow. So, there must be the position of a father, a mother in that home to be able to raise a child properly. I know some people will argue that single parents have raised children properly. No. Why we see that people have raised children properly is because most of us cannot tell the deficiency that is in a child when the father is absent in the life of that child, what we just think of is that the child is doing well in school, the child passes his or her examination, the child is in the university now, the child graduated, the child has money. That's what most people see as success. But the inadequacies that is in the child, the lack of emotional intelligence that is in that child, we do not have a way of assessing that. So, parenting must be done by a father and a mother taking a proper position in the home. So, it is how the mother relates to the father that the child relates to the mother. So, at a point, my child was calling my wife, see that. Reason for that is because that's what I call my wife. Right? So it means that at that stage, it is basically what the child sees that the child will emulate. So it is very risky at that stage of the formative stage of our child for there to be strange people in the home. People will go and get house help, they don't know how they grew up. Bring house help from Calabar, bring house help from Akwa Ibom, bring house help from so and so place to come raise children in their formative stage. That's disaster. That's disaster because you do not know what that house help is going to model before your children. We've had instances and situations where the gatesman and the house help will be having sex in the presence of children. They really don't care. They don't care. They see them as children. They cannot talk. In a short while, the children, a male and a female, began to also do what the gatesman and the house help were doing. A very busy father, banker, a very busy mother, a nurse. Before those children, before the male could get to 15 and the female 13, the mom had done close to 3 abortions for the daughter, to a point where the son got into depression, left the home. The father died as a result of such trauma. The daughter also died. The woman telling this story right now, she's telling the story as a single old woman without children, without husband. Now that's happened because they saw themselves as rich. They could afford a gatesman. They could afford house help to take care of their children while they go take care of the bills. The truth is that your children need more of your presence than they need your presence. I'll say that again. Your children need more of your presence, your presence. They need you around. They need more of your presence than they need your presence, your gifts. Now, understand that at this formative stage, don't let your children out of your sight. Be careful the school you send them to at this point, because when the damage is made between age 0 and 5, it is practically impossible to correct. The only thing you can do is to panic beat the child. In other words, you beat the child into another mode. The child will lose his or her identity. The child will lose his or her essence. The child will just be like a robot, an AI. The child may end up doing everything you want the child to do, but that's a damaged child. And the workers of that child, the wife of that child, the husband of that child, will understand the damage that a parent had done in the life of the child. Will come back there, but age 0 to 5, you train your children by showing them what to do, and how you show them by modeling it to each other. A successful marriage is a marriage where both spouses compete for who submits the most. Because once your children can learn submission and honor, those are just the two things you need to teach your children: submission and honor. Once the children can understand submission and honor, every other thing will be perfect. You don't need to put too many rules in the house. Rules don't make a home. Love makes a home. When God was not our parent, all God did was to give rules. 10 commandments, 51 commandments. Thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. That's what God did for the children of Israel, but it was a total disaster. For people who always want to do what you tell them not to do. So that failed. Homes are not run based on rules. When you give children a set of rules, they devise a means of evading the rule without being caught. So you already start teaching your children the surreptitious, clandestine manner of manipulating rules, which is immorality. Immorality stands strong in a home where all the father does, all the mother does, is to dish out set of rules. No, you do not dish out set of rules. You make your children understand submission to one another and honor. Submission and honor. Once your children can understand submission and honor, you will be able to teach them other things effectively. From age 5 to 12, at this stage, what you inculcate into your children is values. Values. At this point, you are not a trainer. You do not train your children. You are a coach. You are a coach. What's the difference between a trainer and a coach? A trainer demonstrates and begin to do it for the child. But a coach instructs and watch the child do it. So, age 5 to 12, this is the age you begin to watch your children do things. Right? You make example, you cause them to do it. The examples you have done from age 0 to 5, from age 5 to 12, you now monitor them. So, a parent that has a child that is between age 5 to age 12 must put on the heart of a coach. At that point, you coach your children. You coach them because you want them to have confidence. You cause them to do the things, and when they do it, the only response you show to them is a response of appreciation, no matter how bad or how good they do that particular thing. Never damage their confidence. Cause them to cook at this stage. Don't eat their first food and destroy their cooking skills by condemning the food. No. No. Appreciate them. Show you love what they have just done. Then begin to instruct on this is what you do. Salt level, you keep putting your salt gradually, right? Even though some people are very skilled, someone like me, I do not put salt gradually, neither do I put salt twice, neither do I taste the food when I put the salt. I put the salt, and that's the end, and it must come out perfect. That could be a skill, or maybe because I spent a whole lot of time in the kitchen, and I know the quantity of salt that will go for the quantity of any kind of food originally. But you monitor your children at this point. You cause them to wash their clothes. You cause them to set the washing machine, and you follow it. Let them wash before you put in the washing machine. Let them understand the principles of building confidence in doing things. So you must teach them values at this point. Let them understand that they must have respect for people. Let them understand that they must value the feelings and emotions of people. We have a lot of great people that are damaged. In the society, all we see is, oh, that's a celebrity, very rich, has money, flies private jet. But most people do not pay attention to the fact that most of those celebrities are damaged people. One person that gave us an idea of that is Michael Jackson. Right? For you to understand that it is not just about the amount of money you make. It's not about the amount of fame you have. It is about the amount of joy you have and the amount of empathy you show people. So don't raise children who are go-getters that want to get it done no matter who they step on. That's how most parents raise children. No matter who they step on, get to the top. No matter who they cheat on, get to the top. No, that's not a proper way of raising children. Nigeria is a damaged society because families are damaged in Nigeria. So to fix Nigeria, we have to first of all fix the home front. And fixing the home front is to teach these children values. Let them understand what it means to say sorry. And not just sorry, but I am sorry. And this sorry should not just be a cliche, but this sorry must be something that comes from the heart of the child. And the child will be able to do that if the mother apologizes to the father without restraint, if the father apologizes to the mother without restraint, and if both parents if both parents apologize to the child. For example, if you promise a child a gift, and that day you fail to provide the gift, you should apologize, right? If you fail to show up in the child's school, apologize genuinely. Apologize genuinely. And that child will begin to learn how to apologize, and that child will begin to understand values. age 12 to 18, this is a very special age. At this age, what you give to children is not training. Training is age 0 to 5. Coaching is age 5 to 12. Age 12 to 18, what you give to children is guidance. At this point, you get to know what their idea is about things, and don't impose yours, but just suggest what the right thing is. Are you following? You guide them. Don't give them rules like, I don't want to see you with a man. I don't want to see you with a male. I don't want to see you with this. No. Don't do that to them. Guide them. Know their friends. Let them talk freely about their experiences. Hear them properly. Don't interrupt them while they are talking because they have said something wrong. No. Be a good listener at this stage, because at this stage, you are not a teacher. No, you're not a trainer. At this stage, you are not a coach. At this stage, you are a friend. So when your children get to age 13, stop training them. Stop coaching them. Befriend them. Be their friend. Your child should not be more comfortable with a friend outside than the child is with you. You are their friend. There is nothing they cannot discuss with you. But I'm going to teach you what they call boundaries. They should be able to discuss anything with you, but you should not discuss anything with them, because there is boundary to the friendship that you keep with children. Hear whatever they say to you, but don't put too much discussion on them. If you're having issues with your spouse, don't begin to start telling the children, right? The boundaries to it. The husband and the wife, they're having issues. Their boundaries, don't let the children know. Their boundaries, right? Things like financial stress. You can give them an idea of the fact that they need to live within the means. Let them understand the financial state of the home, but never put the burden of the rent is not available, the landlord will be coming next week. Such kind of burden will change something inside the child that will cause the damage. So you are a friend to them at this stage. You are their friend. Right. Now, when your children are above 18, please step out of the scene and allow them. Take note. Every child above 18 who will keep running to the parent, it means the parenting of that child was faulty. Some parents, the children will be married, and they are so happy to have the children call back to complain. You failed in parenting. A proper parenting is when your child can live independently of you at adulthood and do well. Check other animals. Animals are very good in parenting. When the offspring gets to a particular age, they drive them out. And they never have anything to do with them again. I'm not saying that as humans, you drive them out and not have anything to do with them. But I'm saying that's the mindset with which a parent does the parenting. So when your child becomes an adult, Be very conscious of the fact that you are done with the parenting of that child. You are done. So, what happens most times is, when children are about to leave the home, parents start this panic mode. Have I taught the child everything? Yes, if you follow the principles I explained to you, at age 18, every child is ready to leave the house. So it's not only when they are ready to marry. At that stage, they are ready to marry, true. But they are ready to leave the house. They are leaving already. You cannot train a child after that age again. You cannot. You cannot. You will only just go back to the coaching mode. Parenting had stopped at that point. They only discuss with you as a coach, right? So, at adulthood, you are done. If you have to be interfering in the life of your adult child, often you have failed in parenting. Parent your children to 18 and be rest assured that they can make decisions by themselves. Don't be afraid. A lot of parents are afraid for the children to leave home by that stage. I do not suggest or support children going to boarding school before 18. I don't support that, because you will miss the vital 3 stages in the life of a child. A child should not be sent to boarding school before the child is 18. So, the stages in the development of a child, the child must be home till that age 18. That's the age where the child is now allowed to leave the house. Now, the education curriculum in Nigeria makes children age 15, 16 to leave home to school, higher institution. If this is the case, if it is possible for your child to go from home at the 16th, 15, 16, 17, if that child can't go from home, let there be regular visits to that child, or let the child come home regularly weekends, because at that point, parenting is still going on. Do not release the children permanently by age 15 if you know that every parenting you need to do has not been done. If you know that every parenting you need to do has not been done. So let's pay attention to what should parents do when the child is between age 0 to 5. Number 1, understand that at this point, providing a safe and nurturing environment and establishing control is what you do at age 0 to 5. You ensure that the environment of the child is safe. Do not blame your child for pouring hot oil on his or her body when you created an environment for it. Parents at this stage must be very proactive, must understand that whatever can go wrong must go wrong. This is a stage where you do not just set a pressing iron and walk away. No, you must ask yourself, can this child, how long will it take a child to get to this place? I noticed that a child can get into an accident in less than 5 seconds. They are so fast. They are so fast. I was with my toddler, 3-year-old child. The mom had left the bag that contains drugs, paracetamol, and the rest. I was sitting with him and I was feeding him. And I saw him bring out the drugs, and I quickly took the drugs and placed it on top of a table far away while I was feeding him. And immediately I stood up to drop the dishes in the kitchen, right? When I came back, it was split seconds, in less than 20 seconds. I saw that he had opened it, he had turned it up, and before I could stop him so I could salvage it, he also took a rack and cleaned it. Ladies and gentlemen, this happened in less than 20 seconds. So, it means at this stage, you must ensure that you are a step ahead in everything. You are a step ahead. Once you see any sharp object, you do not wait for the child to get close to that place, or you tell yourself that the child is not at home. No, the child is not at home, but the split seconds the child will come, you will not remember to take that thing out of that place. So, a parent that is having children age 0 to 5, your attention must be 100%. Your attention must be 100%. At this point, you don't begin to start taking on too many projects that takes both of you out of the house, because parenting at this stage requires 100% of your attention. You don't want to have a child that you gave birth to properly and grew up having deformity, and you're having to explain to the child what happened that deformed the child. You don't want to have a child who drank poison because you just didn't know where to keep insecticide. You just didn't know how to keep things above the floor. You don't want to have a child who got electrocuted because you just didn't know that at that stage you should take all the wires away from the ground. So, parents having children that age must be very, very conscious of establishing a safe environment for the children. Now, what do you do at this point? You respond promptly, like I just explained. To needs, respond promptly. Once the child has any need, respond promptly. Promptly to feeding. Don't make a child start crying and crying for food. You know that this child is hungry. A baby of age, let's say 6 months, 8 months, crying and crying and crying. And some parents will just be enjoying the fact that, yes, let the child cry so the child can learn something. No, that child is learning nothing. You are damaging something in that child. You are damaging trust. You are causing that child not to trust you. Because trust is when a child cries and knows you will respond. Babies at months, let's say 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, if you pay attention to them, you'll know that when they wake up on the bed, they will give you an alarm, right? They will make a sound. That sound is for you to come and guide them out of that bed. But sometimes you will not respond promptly to that sound. And after a while, the next thing you will hear is, oh, the child had fallen from the bed. That child trusted you to be able to respond to the sound the child made. But when you're not responding to that sound, the child will resort to self-help, and self-help will always resort to self-inflicting of injuries. So, you respond promptly to diaper changes. You know the response your child will make when your child pulls on his or her body, when your child urinates. Now, once you start changing that diaper promptly, you're already teaching the child strong hygiene. Some parents will leave poo on their children for 3 hours. You've damaged something in that child. There are some children that, even though they are age 1, but they cannot consciously poo on the floor, neither can they consciously pee on the bed, because they have been trained that you respond promptly to such things. So don't neglect the call of your child between age 0 and 5. Don't neglect a call of a child. Don't neglect a shouting of a child. You say you've gotten used to it. You are not where your child is. Your child makes an unusual sound. You say you've gotten used to it. You get there 30 minutes time and come and meet that your child has been electrocuted and died. So at this point, you respond promptly to things. As you hear the sound, respond. Once your mind is telling you, where is my child? Respond. At this point, you are also very sensitive to your spirit. Your spirit gives you signals at this point. Your child is in danger. Because every child has an angel, the Bible says. And the angel of the child will try to stop the child. And if the angel is not able to stop the child, the angel will come to the guardian angel of the child, which is the parent. Your angels cannot physically move things. Are you following? They cannot. So, understand that you build trust and security by responding promptly. The next thing you do to children at this point is you must be consistent in redirection to guide behavior. Consistency. You do not begin to do different things for one action. Are you following? You must be consistent. When you say, no, don't do this, it must be consistent. Right? Don't confuse the child at this point. When you tell the child, when you do this, I'll flog you. Please flog the child when the child does it. Don't allow your child to get used to the fact that you are always warning. I'll flog you. I'll flog you. That's good. But by the time you finally give the instruction of don't touch this, when the child touches that thing, that child should understand that there is reward for good doing, and there is what they call correction, not punishment. There is correction for wrongdoing. There's difference between correction and punishment. So when the Bible says foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, it said, but the rod of correction drives it away far, not the rod of punishment. You do not punish your children, you correct them. You do not punish your children, you correct them. Punishment is, these children have done you something wrong, you want to do them something wrong too. They have hurt you, you want to hurt them. That's punishment. Never punish a child, correct the child. Never punish a child, correct the child. If you notice, prisons are now referred to as correctional centers, even though the mindset of the government and prison wardens is still punishment. If a person commits a crime and your aim is to make the person better, it is not punishment you give to the child, it is correction. So Bible calls flogging the rod of correction, not the rod of punishment. It is the rod of correction. So correction is done in love, punishment is done in anger. So each time I see parents correct a child with anger, they have lost control. I just know that this is someone whose parenting had fault. The person cannot even help it. When you are correcting a child, you must ensure that all your senses are intact. You are completely under control. When you lose control correcting a child, you damage something in that child. So you do not lose control correcting a child. You stay in control. Right? So all the no, you have lost control. That child sees you as somebody who is even worse than what you are correcting. So you stay in control when correcting a child and ensure it is correction and not punishment. Ensure it is correction and not punishment. Teach emotional regulation and communication skills. Teach your children between age 0 and 5 to communicate properly. Let them understand different emotions, right? At this point, a child develops more of emotional intelligence. So it is the emotional intelligence quotient of the child that is more important. Now, let me draw your attention to something. In school, while we're all in school, you're going to notice that there's always this set of children that did very well academically. Very well academically. They are A children. But notice in the society, they are missing. Such children are always missing in the society. It is those average children that turn up to become great leaders in the society. I'm going to tell you why. The reason for that is that those first-class children, those very intelligent children, right? They have what they call IQ, not EQ. They have IQ but lack emotional intelligence. So they took first in secondary school. I don't know, but when I check all the people that came out tops in secondary school, those that came out tops in primary school, no, they don't come out in the society tops. They don't. They don't. Because the parents of these children were more interested in the children doing well academically, that they did not take time to develop the emotional intelligence of the child. Emotional intelligence is that which makes a child to be able to own a company, organize a company, manage staff, manage people, do business with foreign expatriates. And you call it, that's emotional intelligence. It is emotional intelligence that makes someone to be able to manage finances like that. But just intelligent quotient of knowing mathematics, knowing English, coming first in class will not make your child a better adult that can compete favorably in the society. So, it is between the age of 0 and 5 that you begin to start building the emotional intelligence of these children. And what do we mean when we say emotional intelligence? Empathy, communication, proper communication. They should be able to communicate. Don't raise a daughter who will be hurt but cannot say it. Don't raise a child that cannot communicate what they have inside, what they feel inside. Engage in imaginative play. Between age 0 to 5, you start building the imagination of the child. Now understand that God gave humans one tool, and that tool is called the tool of imagination. Most people do not understand that whatever you imagine to a point where it becomes real in your mind must happen. Must happen. So cause your children to start imagining what they want. Right? Build their imagination at this point. Build their imagination at this point. Build their imagination at this point, because the imagination is a tool that the child will use later. So build their creativity. Then between age 5 and 12, you build their understanding. You help your children to understand. So this is the age where what you concentrate on is the whys. Why? W-H-Y. W-H-Y. This is the age where children will always ask you why. Age 5 to 12. They will always ask you why. So, your focus is on why things are the way they are. Don't forget, at this point, you are inculcating values into your children, so you teach them why. Don't just give rules or tell them to do something. Tell them why. Tell them why. when they understand why, they will not do it. Right? When you understand why, they will not do it. So you teach them the reason behind the family values. This is a point where they should understand why everybody has to get on the table and eat. They should understand why everybody have to spend about 15 minutes in the morning before everybody retire to go prepare for work. They should understand why families should come together in the morning before stepping out and come together in the evening to have dinner together. They should understand why. At this age, they are preparing not to participate in such anymore. So, you're going to have your children between 5 and 12 not have problems eating together with everybody in the dining. But immediately they go past that 12, they are isolating themselves. They want to be alone. So it is between the age of 5 and 12, you teach them why everybody should come together for devotion. Everybody should come together to have family time. So, explain why you have such values in the home to the children. So, at this age, you support their educational and extracurricular activity. I noticed for the past how many months when I was raising my children in school, when it comes to skills, footballing skills, chess skills, Scrabble skills, I noticed two boys were very good in football defensively. I monitored them to a point, trained them to a point. I wrote to their parents and I said to the father, please pay attention to this aspect of your children. Get football boots for them and prepare to register them in the football club during the holiday. Because at this point, don't forget you train up a child in the way he should go, not the way you want the child to go. So at this point, you have observed the child enough to know the direction the child wants to go, and you begin to help them in their education and extracurricular activities with structured routine. You are not the one that will not teach them how to regularly do things. You're not the one that will not teach them routines and discipline. The fact that as a footballer, you must jog every morning, you must train so and so time, you must do that. So, when you are giving them such routines, it's something you already know they like, it will never be a problem. At this point, you encourage family teamwork. You encourage family cooking together. You encourage family washing together. You encourage family cleaning together, so you can begin to start building bonds between your children. Most families raise children that don't have bonds. And to develop bonds in children, at this point, you begin to give them tasks together, a task they can all do together, and you can tell them, if people are able to clean this house in 10 minutes, you will get so and so things. So they understand teamwork, they understand delegation, they understand the ability to work together synergistically and not antagonistically, to be able to achieve their set goals, are you following? And work as a team. So, at this point, you encourage friendship. At this point, you explain the reasoning behind rules and expectations instead of just enforcing them. Are you following? Now, between age 12 and 18, you focus on providing guidance from the sidelines. I said at this point between 12 and 18, what you are doing is you are stepping aside and you are providing guidance, right? At this point, you step off the scene and cause your children to start developing confidence, cause them to start knowing how to do things. You realize that if you teach someone how to drive and you are always with that person, the person will never be able to drive when you are not there. The person may be able to drive perfectly when you are there, but whenever you are not there, the person will not be able to drive. So, do not damage their confidence at this point. Step aside. Be at the sidelines. When they are with their friends in their rooms, now don't Don't go and always be with them. Allow them. Try and hear what they're talking about, but let them not know that you are eavesdropping on them, right? Let them not know that her parents will always want to eavesdrop on her. Let them understand that, no, we trust you. We trust you because if you raise them well, whatever they are discussing that you want to eavesdrop on, they will still come and discuss it with you. So no need to monitor them to a point where they know that you have set a camera on them. So you stay on the sideline and allow them exploit all you have taught them. Maintain open communication to guide decision making without being overly controlling. You do not overly control children that are above the age of 12. Excuse me. Do not overly control children that are above the age of 12. All right. Sorry about that. The people that control electricity interrupted electricity, so some of the lights went off. I just want to put it on back. So, maintain open communication to guide decision making without being overly controlling. Don't be overly controlling when your children are already above the age of 12. But control them from the sideline. Don't destroy their confidence at this point too. Let them build it. Let them not be afraid to make mistakes. Let them make mistakes. Don't bail them out of the mistakes, but be with them. Do you understand? When they make mistakes at this point, don't run to their rescue to bring them out. No. Don't bail them out, but be with them. For when you go through the fire, I will be with you. God will not stop you from going through the fire. But when you go through, you are the one that will decide to go through the fire, right? Bible is a very beautiful book. When you go through the fire, you made up your mind to go through the fire. God is not going to say, no, don't go through fire. No, he said, when you go through the fire, I will be with you. So, when your teenage girl wants to get into a relationship and you guide her not to, right? And she gets in, when there is a problem, let's say they got into a quarrel or whatever, don't throw yourself into the arena. No. Be part of the healing process for her. When they go through fire, be with them. Don't bail them out of the fire. God forbid that perhaps your child got arrested at this point. Don't bail them out. Let them use their own wisdom skills to be able to navigate themselves out. But don't leave them. Be with them. But don't be in a hurry to pull them out of the fire that they entered by themselves, so long as they are safe. So long as they are safe. I'm sure you understand that perfectly. So, be a source of support and connection as they build their identity. At this point, if they were to fall into trouble, they should know the number of the lawyer to call, whatever, right? You are with them, but you're not the one to call the lawyer for them. Cause them to start taking responsibility for such cases, right? They destroyed somebody's bicycle. It's their savings that they will use. You are just going to be with them and support them all through it. Are you following? Let them start taking responsibility for actions, right? They should start building responsibility. Be a source of support. He said, help them develop healthy coping mechanism for stress. Don't pull them out of stress. Some parents will say, Whatever they didn't have while they were growing up, they want to make available for their children. You are destroying that child. Let them understand what stress is. Because as a particular child who came from a home where everything is done for that child, the child was in Uniben, and when that child saw his results and saw he failed, the child didn't have the capacity to cope with stress. He climbed up a tall building and jumped down and died. Try that to a worried child who grew up in the midst of stress. A worried child will say, eh? Like, F. You hear something like, hey, wahala, F-A, E-F-E, E-F-E, E-F-E. That child takes responsibility to ensure it does not happen again. A worried child will not go and commit suicide because the child failed now. Are you following? So, train your children how to withstand stress. Not every time, at this age now, not every time they are in distress, you run to rescue them. No, you are destroying them. So, age 18 and above, allow them independence. Providing support and wisdom as needed. If they need your help, provide support. Don't be the one throwing support to a child that is above 18. It is only when they need your help that you come in. Allow them to make their own decisions and be responsible for the outcomes of their decisions. Never at this point insist on who your child will move with, who your child will marry. Never, never, never. Just discuss with them and point certain areas suggestively. Don't lord over them. Say, okay, have you checked so and so part of this man? Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you tried to check if he gets angry? Are you following? Those are the kind of things you do. You don't just, and if they still insist, support. Support. Suggest, support. Suggest, support. Suggest, support. That's what you do to children above the age of 18. Don't go and be bossing over children above the age of 18. You will lose them. You will lose them. So, allow them to make their own decisions. Be available to offer advice, but step back and let them take responsibility for their own lives. All right? At this point, the things that you should pay attention to for all the ages of children when they are growing up, teach them adaptability. I, for one, I have a principle. I can celebrate birthday for my child, but I don't celebrate every birthday. To a point where even to my wife, I do not buy gifts on every of her birthdays. What am I doing? I am teaching the home adaptability. I'm teaching the homes that there is night, there is day, there is seed time, there is harvest, there is winter. There are 4 seasons in life. There is spring, there is autumn, right? There is winter, and there is summer. Teach them adaptability. Let them understand that you can be eating chicken, it is good, but a time will come. For Ecclesiastes says there is time for everything. A time to marry, time to eat, and a time to go hungry. So children should not automatically feel inadequate because something is missing in the home. Are you following? It's good that they get into a vehicle going to school, but let them understand what it means to trek sometime or get into the bus. This will not be difficult for children living abroad because getting into the bus abroad is a normal thing. But in Nigeria, we see entering public transport as poverty because the mindset of the Nigerian originally is twisted, or Africans generally. So, you build trust. Building trust and respect is crucial at all ages. So, you must never destroy trust at the development of a child. You build physical and mental health. Pay attention to the physical and mental health of that child. Allow them play sports. Allow them play sports. Allow them get bullied. Right? Do not rescue them from bullying, except when the bullying is tending towards a dangerous point. Teach them how to tease back. Right? When somebody teases them, oh, look at how big your uniform is. Let them raise the uniform and put their hands inside and say, oh no, this is Agbada because I'm going to be a rich man. I'll be wearing Agbada. Are you following? If you can teach your children to be able to respond to bullies like that, nobody will want to bully a child who already has mouth to tease himself. Are you following? You don't tease somebody who will not cry. You are teasing a child who you say, you didn't iron your uniform. And the child will tell you, yes, the reason I didn't iron my uniform today is because I know you will say something. It's the reason I decided to come to school like this, to make you talk. Are you following? Because you intend to bully out, and the child is responding back by even joining you to tease his or herself. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to rush things on parenting because it is obvious this is going to be a whole 1 month course. But I encourage you to join me throughout this course that we're going to be taking in the month of November. So, thank you so much for joining us today, and apply what we have learned, and drop your question and we'll respond to it by the next time, which is next Sunday. God bless you. Thank you.